Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
Just how do you plan on doing that? Magic. Motherfucker.
And now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo.
So have you heard of Letterkenny?
I have not heard of Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, it was one of those shows that I just kept breezing over every time I looked through, the choices on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget, it's another one of those shows where I know people have told me about this show. Like, you got to watch it, you got to check it out. And I can't remember who it was, but anyway, gave it a chance, and shit was fucking hilarious.
What the fuck is this? It's an international sitcom.
You're looking at it. I thought you were looking at text right now, like getting dick pics or something, because your face was really disturbed. But
I feel like this guy that I'm looking at, I typed in Letterkenny, and both these guys for sure, like, dick pic is their opening move. There's
it's
no
actually,
way it's not.
It totally isn't. Watch the show, and they're mostly like, they're too polite for that. In fact, their exact words would be like, "It's impolite to send dick pics." It's a Canadian show. So it's like fucking, if you take Trailer Park Boys, mix it with like a little bit of Napoleon Dynamite, mix it up with a little bit of, like Workaholics, maybe Always Sunny and King of the Hill, and add a little bit of Snatch, the movie from the Guy Ritchie film, you get Letterkenny.
Huh.
It's
all right, so I can read the description here. It says the residents of Letterkenny belong to one of three groups: the Hicks, the Skids, and the hockey players.
Yeah.
That's a really weird way to segment some shit out.
But you gotta watch it.
Who are constantly feuding with each other over seemingly trivial matters that often end with someone getting their ass kicked.
It's so good though. It's so, at first, like, when you watch, you're like, okay, it's one of those things that's just a gimmick based on how they talk, but the writing itself, or at least like the little situations that go on, they're pretty hilarious. And those three separate groups, like, absolutely hilarious. It's something pretty unique, I'd say.
I've got to say, they're off to a good start. Episode 2's title is Daryl's Super Soft Birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And episode 3 is called Fart Book. So,
there's a quote from that too that I love that I'm gonna totally take.
Okay.
There's a quote. It's like, you can't get.
You know what?
He's like, you can't get to 5.5 million farts without a little bit of sharts.
Okay, I like that. I do like that. Okay, I will give that a shot.
It's so good. I've been obsessed just binge watching him over and over again. And it's like its own unique, thing. You'll hear people quote it all the time. Like if you ever hear somebody say like, pitter patter, like, it's just like a way of saying like, hurry up, like, let's go. Pitter patter, let's get at it. It's like something that they say in the show a lot. Just different stuff.
I've heard that, but it sounds like it's something from like creepy British like nursery rhymes and stuff like that.
Yeah. There are like, what do they say when we like, how are you now? Like, how are you now is like, just like, how are you doing? Like, just a weird, but it's like a weird way of like,
Canadians they're strange people.
Yeah, but there's also it's just like provincial as well. Like, it's definitely like different, it's like the Alberta, like, I think that's where they're from. Like the Alberta or like the Ontario Canadians are like different than, the Vancouver Canadians.
Yeah.
So.
No. Vancouver's not the shit. I
Vancouver's
feel like
the West
I've seen
Coast.
them all, and I just have no idea what like.
Vancouver's like the West Coast, like the
Vancouver's
BC,
the West Coast.
And yeah, so. And then you have like Ontario, which is obviously like more East Coast, Midwest, like closer to the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of them, but I know that they definitely sound different.
You got all those Frenchies out in Montreal.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but like, it's totally like
Quebec.
I wouldn't say that that's how it is. Oh, there's also, they left out one thing too. There's the natives. I think they left that out for like, politically correct reasons, but like, it's pretty funny. Like they're just called the natives. They're like, there's a res that's up there too. And so like, they're getting into like shit with the native people as well. Like there's a whole segment with it, but it's not like, it's not fucking fucked up or anything. It's definitely funny.
Okay. No, I'm into that. It sounds like my style of thing, man.
For sure.
You gotta appreciate those. First Nations, I think they call them.
Yeah.
First Nation people or something. I like that term though. I think that's better than like Native American or Indian. Like if we were to adopt that down here.
Well, down here that people have started saying indigenous.
Yeah, indigenous. That's a good word for it. I like that.
Getting corrected. I'm like, oh.
I mean, like my opinion fucking matters on that shit. But
yeah, no, it's funny because I'm not going to go and pretend like I'm really, hardcore into the culture or anything, but I definitely have a significant amount of, indigenous blood in me. But I've been corrected several times by people that are not indigenous at all. but I'm like, okay, like you're right. You know, I gotta do it. I gotta
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
no, you gotta get those, those score those points when you can. You know, that 1/16 Cherokee, like, that can take you a long way. If you can 23andMe that shit,
that's about every person's like, oh no, trust me, I got one. You know what's funny is that those people though often I've found that like a lot of times those people actually can prove it more than I can prove it, even though like I have lots like for scholarships and such. Like they're able to like prove it enough to like get some sort of like grant or scholarship, whereas I was never able to really prove it, even though it's definitely like part of my blood. I mean, you can't really look at me.
Do they prove it?
I guess that they have like documentations for it some way somehow. Maybe like, I mean, being especially like if they come from a family, let's say like on the East Coast somewhere where it was more of a thing, like civilization was a little bit more set up before it got to like the West Coast, before like they came out west over here, when there was like native indigenous people like living amongst
yeah, they had them, and well, then they would do shit like they would take their kids and then change their name and stuff like that. But like that shit always trips me out. Like that's something that I've been like not learning about recently, as in like the past like 5 years or something like that. Like seeing how they, like, the government would go and they would take the kids and then they would like steal them basically and put them into like a prep school and like cut their hair and like change their name to like a white ass name, and they would try to like quote unquote civilize them and shit like that.
Well,
it was just like,
I figure it was like a lot of halflings too. After a while, people. Like,
oh yeah, it's got to be, because tons of like back in the founding days, like all those pilgrims were just like, yo,
yeah,
they're looking pretty
we're gonna
fine
give
over
you
there. Like
some measles and fucking babies. I got measles and babies for you.
Oh shit! Thank you for the early
smallpox and
early contender for the episode title. I like that. Measles and Babies, which is coming back into style. Measles, I mean, not babies.
Really?
That's on the decline.
I don't even know if that was that a thing. The measles, was it that thing that was passed around? I don't know. I'm just talking about something contagious.
It was a thing.
Yeah, I know smallpox
and
was.
now it's coming back.
Yeah,
because people don't fucking vaccinate.
Oh, okay. So it's because of that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, we've been trying to tell you, like, that's a real thing that you should do. And people
but don't you get autism after vaccinating?
I think these man. Yeah, there's definitely a.
That's another thing, like the Taco Bell Del Taco thing, that like people are just equally divided down. Like you talk about that, and there's no real way you could tell who is for what. Like everybody's got a very specific, like different opinion on that, and it's a lot of just them researching from different people that are just saying like different things, and I don't know. I don't think that it's.
And either one leads to the like death or serious disfigurement of like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Either Del Taco and Taco Bell or not vaccinating your kids. Yeah. Like
straight up. If you go Del, then you're going to hell.
I like that. That was smooth, man.
Yeah. I
mean,
no,
that shit's crazy. I've gotten into some like contentious stuff because it's weird that like people who tend to be like the anti-vaccination people tend to be like, just like liberal white moms who like think like who read blogs and get all into that, and it's crazy because you end up on the same side as people. You're just like, whoa, you are just catastrophically incorrect about that stuff. And I mean,
yeah, I'm not even going to pretend to fucking know any better. Like if I don't get a shot, it's just because I didn't go to the doctor in time, like and I'm just lazy. That's pretty much the reason why I didn't do it.
Yeah, but we were able to wipe whole diseases off the face of the earth, because of this stuff. And like, I don't know, the risks I think that people say are overly exaggerated, overly conflated, and I trust entire swathes in like history full of like doctors and medical researchers and scientists over YouTube videos,
right? YouTube University recipients, certified people. That's what I call it. Like the people that get their certifications on YouTube.
There should be like maybe that's the way that we
YouTube
fix
University.
YouTube and social media is just sarcastic accolades to give people,
Oh, I've already been thinking all day of some stuff to go into that thing that I'm doing.
Is that something that's secret, or did you just trail off and kind of forget what you were saying?
I forgot that it was a secret.
Oh, okay. Then I will keep all that in
Yeah.
as I try to take my little note here. There we go.
But yeah, I've been going over like random stuff like that, just kind of the all around satire, just like okay, this is actually like it has nothing to do really like it's like it's you know it's like a bipartisan issue. There's just like people that are just stupid on all fronts like of that, when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I think the entire the range of humanity leaves much to be fucking satirized, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of dumb shit and dumb people going on. Man, what was I trying to think of that I just saw the other day that was like really, really dope? I remember that I watched The People vs. Larry Flint again, which was like, that's a classic movie, man. I love that movie.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
Woody Harrelson?
Yeah, that shit's good. That's like I forget like, oh, Woody Harrelson has the capability to be a good actor. He just decides not to, I think, a lot of the time. Or he's high as shit. I don't know.
I've liked him in pretty much everything that I saw. I just recently went back, as I said before, watching Cheers, and then he was like in it after like season 3.
Oh,
and that's like the kind of, I would say, like
I have not
the
seen
gimmick
a lot of
character
Cheers,
where
so
it's like not that his role's like
oh,
that.
that's not one. That one's not
he's
that good.
not. I wouldn't say he's. I mean, he does. It's definitely not bringing out his acting skills. That's for sure. It's just kind of like the dumb guy. Well, and he tried to come in and replace Coach. You can't replace Coach.
No,
that's like one of the most iconic characters. It was really sad how they killed him off too, or he just died. He died in real life, but they didn't like give any sort of real explanation during the show. It just kind of like jumped an episode, like one episode where a bunch of time went by, and then like, oh yeah, he's just dead now. Now Woody Harrelson's coming in to take his place. It was just the way that they it was a great show, but the way that they would rush through things in that show was so ridiculous. Like there's just like in one of the episodes, Diane, the main character, realizes she's going to move to Europe. Like she decides in that episode she's moving to Europe with Frasier. And then, like, literally by the end of the episode, she's like said all of her goodbye in the same day. Like, said all of her goodbyes. Like, she's leaving the next day. There's nothing like get out of here, get the fuck out of here. This doesn't like it's so far from
just go sprinting through plot lines. I'm just like, what? I always wonder what happened in like the background, like in the making of this show that caused all that to be necessary.
Yeah.
I was speaking of sprinting through shows. That exactly reminded me of what I was watching the other day. It was the break. No, not the breakdown. The Get Down.
Oh, okay, yeah, dude, great show.
Watching that, yeah, no, I like that show.
It got canceled though.
I heard, and I mean, I'm led to like it was weird. So much of it was good, and so much of it was like, what the fuck is that? And like, this is a really strange like pacing, and the writing's really weird, and like, you wouldn't ask them to like do that line again because they just like kind of Jimmy Smith's like mumbles through it or some shit.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it was like written and directed by Baz Luhrmann. I'm like, oh shit, that makes a bunch of sense.
So there's multiple directors, or is it just all the same director? Because some shows like have different people direct different episodes and whatnot.
I'm not sure. It felt like a very Baz Luhrmann thing, so I'm assuming it probably was him for.
I'm
the whole time.
not even familiar with him.
He did like Moulin Rouge and like the Romeo and Juliet and like one or two other things that I cannot think of right now. But he's like like the Great Gatsby and stuff like that.
Got it.
And movies you're just like, oh, those were
okay,
good.
No, it's like I could appreciate like Moulin Rouge. I'm gonna get so much shit for saying this right now, but that's a girl movie, like straight up, or like it's just a girl movie. Like,
and I fucking loved it.
See, I didn't really care for it at all. I don't know. Like every girl that I know gets so mad.
Actually, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't remember.
When they want to watch it, and I'm just like, you want like you don't like it, and they're trying to convince me of all the reasons why it's great. And I mean, I just don't really care for it. I get that it's like super romantic and stuff, but I just wasn't. Maybe it's that period. Maybe it's that like style of music too. Like if they had done it more like A Knight's Tale or something, like with rock and roll or something, instead of like the style of singing that they had done, I probably would have liked it. I just did not like Moulin Rouge. I like Romeo and Juliet. I thought that was great. Yeah, but
I'm just a sucker for musicals though.
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's got to be like I don't know, Grease or Rocky Horror Picture Show or, Tommy or something like more rock and roll, not just like the old school singing for me.
Yeah, there's definitely some good ones, man. Oh, shit, wait. What I've really been working with is, have you heard of Verve? It's just called like VRV. It's like an app that we like just found for free. And it has like all like shitloads of shows on it. It's like a bunch of like different streaming apps that like I guess if they all failed, they all like combined their powers and made this one. And like there's a bunch of like really dope shit on here that I had never heard of in my whole life. There's a ton of like really good animation, and like these are some of the funniest fucking cartoons I've ever seen. And I had never heard of them. I had never heard anybody talk about them. I had never heard anything about this shit. We just found it randomly one day. I'm just like, oh shit, there's so much good things out here.
Yeah.
Like there's one with there's one called Gary and His Demons that I think is probably the best like one that I've seen. It's just like he's like a middle-aged, like looks like a middle management dude, like kind of like balding guy, but he's, also a demon hunter.
Nice.
And he's just like kind of sarcastically fighting demons the whole time. It seemed super up your alley. So you should
I'll definitely check that out. I mean, the possibilities too of me even like getting into that in the near future is seemingly greater than ever before because of technology and how easy it is to do these little things, the emo cat. I'm not sure if you follow emo cat. I think he goes by Drew Tunes on Instagram, but this guy's like extremely relevant with, just satirizing like just everything. And he's got a character called emo cat, and it's just like, it's so funny. And now he's moving from just basic simple comics into like little stop animation type, like just little cartoons and stuff. And he took a sample. It was really funny. The most recent one I think was like with Michael Rappaport in there, and it's just like a line from one of he's like, look at the fucking cat. Who's that fucking cat out there? Stop looking at me that way. And you just see like emo cat looking down or looking up at like him outside the window, like looking down on him. And then he just like pumps out a script. And then he's like, oh no. Like, it's just like this fucking hilarious thing that,
dude, I love that shit. Dude, This is exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about. That sounds like some shit. There's actually another show called Cat Agent that like sounds almost kind of like that. That was like really fucking funny, man. Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah.
But this guy, I've been following him from the beginning, and you just see all the followers.
Yeah,
that style, like it's just, I don't know.
The first thing I see is it's a little bird talking to the cat, and the bird says, "You're so emo," and the cat says, "Yeah, but the hood still fuck with me, though."
Oh,
that's solid right there. I like that.
Yeah, and he just like he nails everything that happens, like everything that comes out. Like right, he's got a little bit about like the prison, like going to prison and like being in there with 6ix9ine and fucking and Bill Cosby at the same time.
Oh
like,
shit!
Like all these different people. It's pretty hilarious,
dude. I heard that dude 6ix9ine like I got an alert on my phone, like because I get like just weird like breaking news shit,
like the presidential speech or presidential text, and then now you get 6ix9ine text.
Yeah, no, I get like so many different ones. It'll be so random. It's like Cohen confession, implicates president or whatever, and then the next one's like 4 things like for the holidays, and then it's like. One of them that I saw from the other day was like 6ix9ine or Tech 6ix9ine, whatever the fuck his name is.
Right.
Like Takashi. God, I don't care.
I think it's Takashi, but anyway.
Yeah, it's Takashi 6ix9ine. It's like just gets checked immediately upon entering prison. And I was like, oh shit, that's fucking funny, man.
That's well, what's funnier is that his following, like it's much like to most of us that like look at anything, you're like, how can anybody take this guy seriously or like his music? But obviously he's got a huge following of people.
Yeah.
For what, I don't know. It's very similar to like the Trump thing, like how people support him. I don't know, but it's weird because he like this guy was at Art in the Park one day, and then somebody was making a joke about it. And he's like started defending him. He said, "That's my boy, Takashi." And so like I'm thinking, okay, well, what if this guy somehow like knows him, like or knew him some way somehow? Like I don't know who this guy is. This guy is a random guy that I met at the park, and I'm pretty sure he was homeless. Definitely an alcoholic. Like just walking around drunk. Pretty sure he was homeless.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was mostly his demographic.
Yeah, young, very young, and he was like defending him, like that's my boy, like everybody likes to come and talk shit, but they don't know he didn't really do that. Because I think that's what it was. We were talking about the fact that he was allegedly like a rapist, or like a not a rapist, like a statutory rapist. Like he was like hooking up with younger girls and blah blah blah. And he was just like saying, no, he didn't do that, or he didn't blah blah blah. And we're like, oh, like you know him? How do you know him? He's like, oh, I watched his videos and stuff. I'm just like, oh my god, like,
yeah,
you like, but he was so dead serious, like just like, I kind of took a step back, like, oh shit, am I talking shit on this dude's homie? Like, does he know him? Like, fuck, you know,
They
like
take it so personal, and you just cannot talk them out of it. Be like, yo,
I'm
dude,
just
it looks
like,
like
yeah.
a duck, it talks like a duck, it walks like a duck.
yeah,
It's a fucking son of a bitch.
straight up, yo.
God damn, man! I just watched the Chris Brown documentary this morning. That was like him sitting down and talking and like telling the whole story in like everything, like going through all the things that he's there, like that have been happening to him since like 2009. And it was like, it was pretty interesting, even though it's like, after a certain point, man, it's like things aren't happening to you. But he was like taking responsibility and talking about that shit, like giving his perspective. But it was just kind of weird. And then like,
is he still in trouble or what's going on?
No, he's like not in trouble anymore. He's out of jail. He's like making music and shit like that. But people still think of him that way.
Sure.
And rightly so, because that wasn't that long ago.
Right.
Like the first, like he beat Rihanna about 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'd be 10 years in like February.
And so what did he say it was though? Like what was his reason for doing it?
He's like, he took responsibility for it and stuff like that. And he was just telling the story of like what happened and like,
Right.
kind of how that came up and, how he just got so pissed off and that like he hit her and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then like what she was doing and what he was doing. And then, but I feel like he missed a couple of like other, because he started going through all the controversial shit that's been happening since then. Because that wasn't the only thing. It's like he also like smashed a window up at the Today Show or something, and like he like violated probation by doing something or other. I don't exactly remember because like I gave up on him about 10 years ago.
Sure,
but like it was kind of a trip to watch, and I'm just like, but yeah, man, like I don't know if you're like past all that though. The whole thing was like a story of redemption, shit like that, and I can. He probably, he just had a kid or something. So he like, I can assume maybe he's feeling better about it, like about himself as a man and stuff like that and doing it. But it's like, like the last thing that you did that people are still talking about that led us to believe that you were a piece of shit was like a year ago, man. And so it's like,
trying to come out with it super quick to like already speed up the process of like you. It was like Green Day coming up with the behind the music before like they even made Boulevard of Broken Dreams and shit. And you're just like, no, you're he at the end of that he was like, yeah, I'm like 40. I can't be like a 40-year-old like child, and then like it shows him after that Billy Joel was like dressing with makeup and like looking a lot like he's trying to be way younger. Yeah. Like right after that, I'm like, oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was like a weird, like Boulevard of Broken Dreams. That was like a weird period where like you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're done now, and then they just kept on going up. It feels like there's two very like distinct. There's like Dookie and post Dookie.
Sure.
Like that's the way,
or even But it's kind of funny because that just reminded me of that one show that I was talking about. The it was something dark tourism where like they had that guy going around all over the world to like go to these spots to like find the most fucked up and like interesting tourist things that like activities. And one of them in Colombia is like a tour from one of Pablo Escobar's like ex hitmen that, like is giving tours, like theatrical tours where he plays like a drug dealer. Oh, still, shit. And he's got like a gun. It's not real, but he like
the dude who did it.
The dude who killed like thousands of people, like or hundreds of people at least. Like admittedly did his time or whatever, but he's doing this, and he's like making jokes about how he used to kill people or whatever. And like the host of the show who's there, and I like was kind of worried for this guy at some point. Like they made it all like he's being very just straightforward with the guy. He's like, I don't think it's funny, like I think I wonder if you really have rehabilitated yourself.
Yeah.
And it's totally hilarious because you just see the guy like just like looking at him like, motherfucker, like I will kill you right now. Like you're just like, damn, you got balls, dude, for going up to him and saying that. But he's right. Like the guy's like, I don't know if you're really rehabilitated because you're over here making jokes about like killing people.
Man, it's fucking crazy. Have you seen The Act of Killing?
No.
They need to pull that shit on that guy. Because that shit was like a documentary film crew went to, I want to say Cambodia or Laos or something like that. And there was a government there who like in like the 80s, like it was fucking genocide, like the worst shit that like could have been done, just like destroyed like whole groups of people and stuff like that. And the documentary crew went there to help them film a movie about their like rise to power. And they were all stoked about it. But like, hey guys, here's the twist. You guys play the other side. And we'll have actors play you guys, like that's like their cameo and shit. And they had them go through the other, the other side of what they oh shit, sorry. Where's all this? Hold on 1 second. Okay. They had them go through everything they did, but as the victims. And like by the end of it, like they're like, oh my God, like we did that?
Yeah.
Like they actually experienced it, And you could just see them like convulsing, almost like the end of the Jinx or some shit. Like they're all just like fucking, it all just hits them and they're just like fucking like throwing up and shit. It's like, it's wild, man. It's a fucking crazy like thing to see.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I love that shit, man.
Like putting
that
in
and
that scenario. Like, I wonder, you know what I mean? Like when they're in that act of doing that thing, not to justify it or like make it okay, but it's just like, are they really, themselves or like, it's just like, what the fuck possesses you to do some crazy shit like that?
It's got, I don't know, man. That's just a mentality that I don't think we'll ever be able, like, hopefully we'll never be in a situation that is like desperate enough for us to understand. Cause like that really has got to take,
it's either desperate or like straight up, like just at a certain point, like the greed or like, just like the power fucking thing just kind of like takes over in your mind. And you like, I guess you would say feel invincible, like some sort of super villain hero or whatever, like, I don't know. I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to justify it or make it okay, but it's.
I think it's like a group mentality, like a herd thing, like a dissolution of all the crazy shit going on, like throughout people.
So what were the specific people? Like who were the groups that you?
No. But I'm saying like as like a human thing, you know? It's like if like everybody is committing these atrocities, like it's all just kind of it's a mob mentality that just kind of piles onto it, and like without having to individually face like the reality of the situation alone and taking full responsibility for it. It's they're able to kind of, I don't know if it's like rationalizing it to themselves is the right word, but like making sure like I don't know, man. It's just fucked up. I try to understand it and it's crazy. A lot of people that are just following orders, it's like how the Nazis could go and be
the
that
structure
way.
of power, how it like develops. It's a really interesting thing. I was recommended a book recently about that because by one of my, I forget what the name of the book was though. I have to figure this out from her, but she was wanting me to read it because, it kind of happens not maybe in such a violent way, but just about anywhere, like in the workplace. Like if you work at a restaurant, let's say, and there's people that establish like their place there, like, or it could be any business, but at our particular restaurant, there's like a guy who just like has kind of made himself irreplaceable. So he's like, kind of could do whatever the fuck he wants because, to replace him would really be hard to do. And, like he definitely can, his work at like, he as far as a worker is concerned, he's like really good, but his attitude is just so fucking shitty. And it's like, he could do whatever the fuck he wants though, because he's got that sort of leverage,
Yes.
and that's kind of like,
I know exactly how that is.
and it just happens though. It's like, it is like a natural thing where people kind of just fall in line behind other people, like, without even realizing it,
I think there's a slow, like moral slide that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think when you get into positions of power, how quickly it can be to lead to abuse.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's like one small thing kind of begets another until that becomes normal, and then just horrible shit becomes kind of the everyday, the mundane. And obviously in like giant scales from restaurant to Third Reich, but
yeah,
it's fucking it's wild how all that shit plays out, man. Like I was just watching, speaking of shit that we were just watching that is super relevant to this conversation, I just saw Beast of No Nation last night.
Ooh, I saved that to watch it. I'll probably watch that tonight.
That is a good fucking movie.
Yeah,
man.
that looks really fucking good.
Honestly, it's one like one of the prettiest movies I've seen in a minute, man.
What's his name? The actor that was in The Wire, right?
Idris Elba.
That guy is fucking the badass, dude.
He kills it, man.
Nails it.
Yeah,
like,
just
fucking...
like a warlord of like with child soldiers and shit like that. Like he crushes that too.
So different than his role in like The Wire as well. Just fucking
I'd
wide
say,
range of acting for sure.
Yeah, I mean he was straight up like if that same character had just grown up and been in a different situation, in a different
country,
in like a whole different country. Like
yeah,
if that soul had been born into another part of the world, I feel like that's what it could have been. You know, because he was like, kind of morally ambiguous. Sometimes you do want to root for him, but then he's just like, and then it's like, oh wait, no, I almost forgot. You're a fucking
scumbag,
awful person.
Yeah. I could see that happening, and you're right. Just being like complete, but the acting though is what I meant. Like being able to carry off two different like actual roles, like the same type of personality perhaps, but like obviously the language, and just
I'd say the same spirit of the character, but like he just nailed it though. Like it looks so dope and so cool when he does it. Like.
And the kids have to be fucking amazing.
Dude, I was like,
kid actors these days are just like fucking ridiculous.
That they're kids. And then they're doing this. And then like Bree stepped back. She's like, holy shit. Like, I just realized like these are kids. And I'm just like, oh shit. Like, that's crazy. Like,
performances are nuts, man.
These two kids are like 9 and 10 years old.
Yeah.
And they are killing it right now.
Like in The Witch. Those kids
exactly.
fucking murdered it.
Exactly.
Like
man.
They were just, I'm so just, it's amazing how fucking much they've just jumped up. Like, I don't know if they got him in acting school at 2 years old or what, but fuck.
Yeah, I mean, well, shit. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know how that happens. That is so beyond me or anything I could fucking think of. But yeah, no, that shit is dope. You should like that. That's a great movie, man.
What if they're reptilian babies?
What if there are reptilian babies?
They're born as reptilians and then they're.
I have heard that your boy Alex Jones has kind of gone off the rails.
He's pushing that one right now.
Since he's not on like mainstream and he's not really influencing the mainstream conversation
What's
anymore.
He doing now?
Oh, I guess he's only on his own site, only on infowars.com. That's the only place you could like find the videos and shit like that. And I
thought that it was banned though.
No, not the site itself.
Oh, but like from any streaming.
It can't be on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter.
Got it.
But you can just
go to his
like
website.
Private companies don't have to put you on their platform.
Sure.
So he can make his own and build that, but I guess his viewership and everything is like way down because if he's not on YouTube and he's not easily accessible, people just probably don't care enough to go and do it.
Right.
But I was listening to this interview with the dude who was he runs like a right wing watch, I think it's called, and he monitors like hate groups and stuff like that. And there's a lot of crazy stuff actually around here, a lot of like the Proud Boys and shit. Ooh, that reminds me of a fucking thing I saw the other day, but I'll get back to that.
They busted some dude's house.
That dude with the
Where was that? Do you know?
The funniest part of that, it was in this city. I want to say, shit, I should have looked at the address.
I know it was in Huntington, but I was like just curious to know where all those fucking guns and shit.
I want to say it was closer to like Edison, but I am like 11% sure on that.
Right.
But my favorite part of that was that this dude was, first of all, I didn't realize a dove releasing business was a thing.
I didn't know. That was
Homeboy makes his living literally by selling people the symbol of peace.
Yeah.
And releasing it in there. A Nazi with 50 guns was arrested because he threatened to kill somebody for not paying their dove bill.
When he didn't deliver the doves.
Yeah. Well,
he didn't deliver
the doves. He didn't deliver the doves?
He ended up not delivering the doves.
Excuse me for believing that this guy was a competent dove releaser.
He didn't release the doves, but he still was calling and threatening.
Like the Nazis are at least on time, or they do some of the shit they're gonna do.
Right, they're at least punctual. But no, he didn't deliver the doves, and then was leaving like really hateful messages to still collect payment. Like he's you like making the guy, you got to pay, otherwise we're gonna I'm gonna fucking do this guy, I guess he like like clicked the gun when he's fucking over the phone. You could hear it in like the message or whatever. Just all gangster.
And he does that because he didn't release the doves. He didn't bring the doves to this guy's son's funeral, and his quote was, well, maybe you should join your son, and then he slides the gun thing back.
What a fucking
crazy
asshole. Psycho.
Bastard,
yeah.
Man.
Some
Jesus
people are
Christ.
just so far beyond repair. It's
really it's
crazy.
a fucking trip, man. And there's a lot more of these people than I'm comfortable with. You know what I mean? It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking to know like so much of that is kind of local, and that there is a big push against it, but it's like this, it's like the sunlight being a disinfectant kind of thing, as people are starting to get exposed, and as things are like, oh no, here are all the like the dog whistles, and here are all the, the places where they hang out, and it's like, oh no, okay, all these things that you guys have been claiming were seemingly innocuous are now like exposed for being like hotbeds of not just racism, but like extremism and actual dangerous shit. Like, the terrorism attacks in this country now are just crazy fucking InfoWars, consuming, angry white dudes with 60 guns.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts, man.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show with the Alex Jones thing that most of the people that probably watched this shit on YouTube were not like his real supporters anyways. It's more like people watching like to see how crazy this fucking guy is.
Yeah.
Like, just like laughing at him basically the way that I do. Like, you're just like, whoa, is this guy like for real? Is
and I do that shit too, man. I look at some of this shit, I'm just like, damn, this is fucking great. Like, look at how funny this shit is. And then you think everybody's laughing with you. And then there's like two people who are just like, yeah, okay. Oh, that's a good point. You're just like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. It becomes so much more apparent, and it's
all fun and games till the pipe bombs come out, Yeah. Like it's I'm feeling hopeful that we are at least in a in the like heroic part of the second chapter of all this, where like there is a very like a deep struggle and like but we are starting to see victories and things coming down, and we're starting to see a lot of the facade crack and stuff like that. Like, I really believe that like this week was the week where one of the most significant weeks I think that we have seen when it comes to getting the president out of here and exposing all the shit that he's done. We had a lot of indictments coming down. I even just got an alert on my phone from that same thing I was talking about, saying that they're not suggesting jail time for for his national security, his defense secretary, who was a Russian agent, who quit the White House like in February when they went into power in January, and then was arrested and indicted and all this crazy shit. And they just said, oh, for helping us so much, like we're not suggesting a jail time for him, which is pretty, that's pretty significant going on right there. But the president, like, he literally, like, if we have this now, he offered Vladimir Putin like a $50 million penthouse personally as a bribe to help him with this election, and in exchange for dropping the sanctions against Russia from the U.S. Like, just like cut and dry. Like, it is that on its face, corrupt. And we've got like irrefutable evidence of some of that shit.
But he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm not worried about it. He's just like, I don't really care.
He's very worried about it, man. He's like freaking out. He's having fucking meltdowns. He's like leaving, like, there was like a Christmas tree lighting ceremony.
I thought he was quoted saying like he's not worried about it though. That was like the funny part to me, where it's just like, wow, this guy could really just like say whatever he wants and like basically get away with it. Like,
I don't believe that for a fucking second. It's just like, I'm not worried about it, as he's like sweating profusely and like loosening his tie and like ready to throw up. Like, I
haven't seen any of that.
I'm saying like that's kind of the attitude that he's given off. Like, he is very, very worried about it.
I was saying the other day how I kind of feel bad, not really, but kind of feel bad for Richard, like Nixon back in the day. He was like the first child that like the parents were a lot more strict with him. Like, he just didn't get away with like the shit that he was trying to do. Like, where like Donald Trump is just like, people just got so far removed from shit that they're just like, it's like he's doing shit it's like the kid who, that was the older brother and he got in trouble for smoking pot one day, and then like, like he got in so much trouble from his parents, but then like 10 years later, his like little brother is like smoking pot every day with the parents, and like it's like totally chill. You're like, wait, what? Like, what the fuck?
Sort of. But Nixon was a world-class son of a bitch too.
Right, but
I don't want to downplay that. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Actually, I think it's crazy that like that was the appropriate response for what Nixon did.
Right.
I think it's crazy that we are not seeing that now, because there's been such a naked power grab. And as long as there's one party in power, that party is unilaterally going to deny and work to subvert like the rule of law in this country.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man. Even now, like in North Carolina, they literally were stealing votes and ballots from people. Like, there's this giant thing. They might redo the election in North Carolina because there's like for all this talk of like voter fraud, like the Republican Party, they were going around pretending to be other people and collecting ballots from, registered Democrats and stuff like that, and then handing them to the candidate who was who was running there, and then they all just like went missing. And there's like there's like really weird statistics, like, oh, that candidate got like 600 mail-in ballots, but his like opponent got literally like 11.
So how did they know who was like a Democrat and who wasn't? They were just asking everybody for their shit.
I think they were going around. Picking up ballots, picking up even like unfinished ones,
right?
And then like writing in their own shit and doing that, like super blatantly on its face illegal stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what's the evidence of this though? Like, just curious.
Oh, there's like a bunch of it. Like they have people with sworn affidavits and stuff like that who are saying like, yeah, they were paying us and working with them to go collect ballots and then put.
So what's gonna happen to those people that are just like coming out about it now?
I don't know. They were paid and they were told it was legal, and then they were handing it, and then they handed it off to people. They didn't know it was legal, and they didn't know what happened to it after that. So I don't know if anything would happen to them. But it's crazy, man.
They were told it was legal to like steal and fuck, dude, and they believed it.
Oh, I don't know if they knew that the ballots were gonna get fucked with.
Oh, okay. I see. What you're saying.
Like they were just told to grab it. Yeah. And it's just fucking crazy, man. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, the whole thing, like everything kind of came out this week. Like we kind of actually know what Russia had on the president. All of this stuff kind of just became a lot clearer. So I think we're kind of running towards that finish line right now.
Well, hopefully there could be an end to that crazy shit soon, because it's fucking a circus.
Hopefully, it is bad, man. Oh shit, in Wisconsin, like every Republican, like across the fucking board, like the whole state election, the governor, all this crazy shit, they all got voted out. All Democrats coming in. And now they held like a giant last minute session, and they're pushing in all of this, like they're pushing forward all this, all these laws right now that they want to sign in before the new year, and the next state legislature comes in. That basically strips the power of the governor, strips the power of the legislature, and everything else, so that they can't undo what they did. Even though a giant vote just happened, and historically giant parts of the state just went in to say, yo, we do not like what you guys are doing. We do not approve. We want to change this. They vote all these people in, and they're like, okay, well, now it's a law that you can't change anything we did. And, these people have no power. Like,
right. This naked grab of power, as you're saying. Like,
yeah,
people
dude.
are just going in and making shit up and just sticking with it. Nobody's challenging it.
Well, I mean, people are challenging. There's giant protests going on, but people are just not playing by the established rules that we've ran in this country for the last, couple hundred years.
Right.
It's like, it's frustrating, man. It really is. But hopefully there's enough decent people out there to block this
impeccable timing for the sirens.
I know, right?
Those are real sirens, people.
Oh, yeah.
Emergency.
That's not this weird soundboard that I've had.
I know.
I'm not even a real person. It's just Dave pressing buttons.
We need to get one of those, though.
A little soundboard? No,
yeah.
I do not trust either of us. We are not responsible enough to handle that shit.
Oh, man. Like, I just got so mad the other day. Like, when I was on my way, I was super hungover, too. Or was I hungover? I was just, like, not feeling well in the morning at all. I forgot what I was doing the night before. But there was, like, Kevin and Bean in the morning were just, like, they were just really pissing me off. Like, they were just like, they were trying to go, I forgot what they were trying to get to. And then they just kept playing like all of these like stupid clips of things. Like every time somebody would talk, and normally like I'm all for that kind of shit. And I was just like,
some days you're just like, oh God, like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That show really, since Ralph has left, it's gone.
Yeah. Gone downhill. I haven't listened to it in a long time. Man.
Yeah. It's hard to listen to.
That's brutal. That's brutal, man. Well, we are coming up on some good time here.
Yeah.
And so we talked about this. We want to actually make an announcement if it's planned. We're probably not going to be up next week because I'm out of town. I got
a couple good things.
I'm out in North Carolina. So
to when?
Monday to Friday.
Next week?
Next week, yeah.
Oh, so you won't be here for the Grinchmas party that's coming up.
Oh, shit.
We've got a Grinchmas party at the Copper Door in Santa Ana on next Wednesday. That's the 12th from 8:30 to 1 a.m. It's going to be fucking sick. Pretty much if you missed the band The Ruckus at Art in the Park last last month, then you're going to see them, as well as some new music from Zertix, which he's going to be dropping a new release. It's the Kiros birthday celebration as well. So all of these people who we've had on the show, several different artists, including myself, will be there doing live art. Come by, bring a toy. I think that I'm going with Toys for Tots. Still looking into some little organizations for a toy drive, and I got also I've got an organization that's through my company for art supplies. So if you also have art supplies, bring those on down. Trying to get the kids who are less fortunate to be able to get some toys and some art supplies.
Oh, nice.
And
that's dope, man.
Yeah, automatic raffle entry for that. We're going to have some pretty cool prizes. Also, an ugly sweater contest as well. So that's all stuff that's going to be fun. We're going to have like a station where you can make your own customized Christmas cards. And just, or holiday cards, whatever, you know, and fucking great music, lots of drinks. Obviously, it's a fucking bar, and it's gonna be great. Great cause, and so there's that. Also on, let's see, so the 16th would be that Sunday, and I believe that is when Art in the Park is gonna be.
Yes.
That Sunday, unless something crazy happens and I have to switch it to the next Sunday, it's going to be on the 16th. So stay tuned for that. The 21st is going to be an event that I'm also part of. K-Tribe's going to have their own stage. All of Union, well, it is now called Catch One. All of Union / Catch One is going to be taken over by this organization that, you know, I guess I've been part of for the last couple months, where every single room at Union is going to be taken over by a different organization, and we're going to have like the same shit, you know, just different music. Lots of live artists, lots of giveaways, lots of, you know, raffles and silent auctions and all kinds of stuff. But all the, you know, proceeds go to the wildfire victims, as well as I think the shooting victims from the Thousand Oaks shooting.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
Not sure if
I forgot already
what the official
like
organizations for that. I'm still kind of waiting on these people to get us the exact information for what that is. But I know that, you know, right now we've just, it's kind of like a last minute effort where it was a show that we were all going to do, and they canceled it. And then, you know, they kind of got this, you know, after this whole thing happened, they decided, you know what, everybody wanted to pitch in for free to do this and make it a charity thing. So, yeah, we're going to be doing that. Demon Saints is going to be there. Ella's Dream is headliners, some different bigger names, so come check it out.
And that'll be the 21st?
That'll be the 21st.
Okay. We should have a show by then, so the next one we do, we'll have some more information for you.
Exactly. I'll have all of that information for you. And yeah, as far as I know, that's pretty much all I've got.
Yeah, no, we've got that. We'll do a year-end wrap-up, and I didn't have anything, I don't think.
Word. Well, then, you know, as always, follow us on all the social medias.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them social media is better.
Yeah, and you can go ahead and follow me at Hoodrat Stuff with 3 Fs, and follow the Psychedelic Lions Den, psychedelic_lions_den. Phil?
You can catch myself at Nobody Cares Phil on Instagram, and you can flip that around at Phil Nobody Cares on Twitter. That's also.
Did you say Twitter?
Schwitter. Yeah.
Oh, Schwitter.
Schwitter.
Shitter.
Schwitter. Yeah.
Oh, Schwitter.
It's like
Schmitter.
Yeah. It's just like Twitter, but you know, sweater.
Yeah.
Sweater? Schwitter? I'm losing it, man.
Yeah, that was really schwitty.
I should have ended this show 2 minutes ago.
Well, let me go ahead and do that for you. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, let it bleed.